But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again, when you call again. How long's the shoreline anyway? I've measured every other day. Tide washes all my work away. How long's the shoreline anyway? But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in, when the tide comes in. But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again, when you call again. But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in, when the tide comes in. But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again, when you call again. Oh, I'm not supposed to answer, I'm not supposed to know all that. The silence answer, I've got to let it go. Oh, must make haste. But I don't know what's ahead, or what the ending will bring. I just need to take a minute and then try again to take out the king. If I'm stuck, I'll call you with each stage I'll move through. Well, I know need a little more. Each step I know brings us closer to that old throne. If I'm stuck, I'll call you with each stage I'll move through. Well, I know need a little more. Each step I know brings us closer to that old throne. We couldn't follow the fields, we couldn't live up the yields, and so we slowly slipped away. It was a city of jade from the year it was made, then it started to decay. But I'm still here. Lost everything, but I know that it will fall. The crumbling walls, and it's all that is left to me. It seems like we're in withdrawal, but so are they all. And it's all that is left to me. I write your name into stone and read it alone. And it's all that is left to me. Your love songs cover this home, but nobody knows. And it's all that is left to me. And in the temples divine, can't tell the writing from fines, but then I know just what they'll say. You stood a mightier kind of calico bacon pine, but then they started to decay. But I'm still here. Lost everything, but I know that it will fall. The crumbling walls, and it's all that is left to me. It seems like we're in withdrawal, but so are they all. And it's all that is left to me. I write your name into stone and read it alone. And it's all that is left to me. Your love songs cover this home, but nobody knows. And it's all that is left to me. I know that it will fall, the crumbling walls, and it's all that is left to me. It seems like we're in withdrawal, but so are they all. And it's all that is left to me. I write your name into stone and read it alone. And it's all that is left to me. Your love songs cover this home, but nobody knows. And it's all that is left to me. Well, I've been waiting for all these years just to see you come back home. But each step that you took towards her, well, you took each one alone. And every time you said, my God, how is it up there on that phone? Well, I've been waiting undefeated just to hear you say that I'm not needed. I said I was an honest man, you said I wasn't at all, but I wanted it. Well, I think you're just afraid of the fall, but you won't be there at all, no, you won't be there. And oh, my God, I hope you're falling apart. My God, I hope you're falling into you. Oh, my God, I hope you're falling apart. It's gonna be the start of what afraid I can't keep it together ever anyway. And when every page is in disarray, I think we'll be okay that way.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 2 of Zad's Galaxy Tour Season 11. My name is Shim. I'm going to be your host tonight for 45 minutes of racing here on the brand new to ACC, at least, brand new to ACC, Valencia. This is going to be a tricky circuit for our drivers not only to navigate tonight, but also to manage throughout the whole 45 minutes of racing. And we do have our pit stop ballast for our leaders coming into play this week, as it is one of the even rounds. So if you're tuning in for the first time and aren't familiar with the way we're doing things this season, first thing is we have multi-class set up this season. We have the Centurions and the Legionnaires, Centurions being the pro class, their banners in white, and the Legionnaires being the Pro-Am class, banners are in gray. So you can see we have Larson, Reed, Kapelke, Nunez, Harvey, Henry Harvey, Portis, Burr, and Belanger currently representing the Pro class, the Centurion class. We do have a few other drivers who haven't been able to log in just yet, but they should be coming. And then we have Flores, Rodman, Collis, Rise, Harvey, Miles Harvey, Landry, Fender, Henry, Pinio, Friesen, Jay Friesen, and Toby Yao representing the Legionnaires. So that's the first thing that we have going on this season, is the different class splits, but also for our winners, we do have a pit stop ballast. So if they do choose to take a pit stop during the race, they will need to have a penalty or a ballast incorporated into that penalty or into that pit stop. So for the winner of each class, it's 15 seconds extra in the pits. For second place, it'll be 10 seconds, and for third place, it'll be 5 seconds. So last season, last race, that was Larson in the Centurion class, Nunez and Harvey, Miles Harvey, Henry Harvey. That was the Centurion class podium last week at Imola. This then for the Legionnaire class, we had Turnbull, Rodman, and Flores, Carlos Flores. They were the podium at Imola in the Legionnaires class. So those 6 drivers will have an extra time penalty during their pit stops this race. Being our even race as well, we have a mandatory pit stop for fuel for all of our drivers. They may choose to take an extra 5 seconds to get they may choose to take 5 extra seconds to put on tires, but all pit stops for fuel, regardless of how much you're putting in, is going to be a 25-second pit stop, and they may choose to put on tires. They may not choose to put on tires. For our podium sitters, they all, their penalties all will be added on to however much their base pit stop is. So let's say Larson, who won first place in the Centurion class, let's say he chooses to not take tires. He still has to take fuel, so that's 25 seconds. He will also have his 15-second penalty for, or pit stop ballast, not a penalty. His pit stop ballast added on to that 25 seconds. So overall, it'll be a 40-second stint in the pits for him. If he chose to put on tires, that would be an extra 5 seconds, regardless, of the pit stop, or regardless of the pit stop success ballast. So that 15 seconds only comes into effect after you've gotten your tires and your fuel and everything taken care of. So that gives you a little bit of what's going on for the race tonight here at Valencia. As our drivers make around the circuit here for free practice, getting a feel for the track, putting some rubber down, making sure that track is in optimum condition for racing. I think this track Valencia definitely came out of nowhere for a lot of people playing ACC. A lot of the people were expecting a DLC to come a few months ago, but they weren't expecting there to be a track included. A lot of people were looking forward to the new Ferrari, the new Lamborghini, the new Porsche, kind of could guess that those were coming already. This track was really literally announced, I think, a week before, if I'm not mistaken. So it was really quick, and almost nobody knew that it was coming, or seemed like nobody knew it was coming. And I gotta say, I think it's a very interesting addition to ACC. Not only is the track absolutely impeccably laser scans and it drives incredibly well, but I think this provides a really interesting challenge for drivers in ACC. This track really focuses on flow and how you flow between different corners and maintaining the momentum, but also making sure that you're not destroying your tires during the whole process. Because if you're not careful, you will destroy your tires early in your stints. It's honestly almost a blessing for our drivers that they have a pit stop required for this race, because if they didn't have the option, or if it wasn't required, I don't think any drivers would be taking a pit stop, and the tire management would be even harder for people to manage. I've been doing quite a bit of hot laps at this track in numerous different cars, and if you're not careful with how you manage your tires in that first few laps of your stint, first few laps of your hot lap session, if you don't manage your tires correctly, they're going to be gone by by lap 10. So those first 5 laps are going to be incredibly crucial for our drivers to maintain their tires the best of their ability, making sure that they're bringing them up to temperature, up to pressure, gradually, not overextending their tires more than they should be, because the pace drop off will be dramatic here. I think in terms of how much your car drops off in terms of pace, I think at this track it's the most notable, or most noticeable for me at least, in the tracks that I've raced recently. But I really do think that this will provide some excellent racing. That will remain to be seen. I think the racing will definitely come down to a lot of the pit stops that we see. Our drivers having to take those ballasts. I think that'll mix up the field quite a bit. I don't think Larson's going to be able to pull away nearly as much as what he's done in the past, just because his pit stop is going to be, it could be 15 to 20 seconds longer than other folks in the group. So you could see some, you could see some drivers that you usually see maybe a little bit further down in the pack really giving Larson and some of those front runners a hard time at today's race, really slowing them down maybe as they try to come back through the pack. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that all pans out today, and how our drivers manage that. And I already got one of our drivers making him nervous with all this tire talk, and good. I think I should be making you nervous with all the tire talk, because I'm not gonna lie, the tire talk makes me nervous too. Whenever I've been racing at this track, the tires are my number one concern. Always worried about how they're going to be stacking up, lap after lap, wondering if I brought them into the temperature well enough. It's just a very enjoyable. Well, I don't know if it's enjoyable, but it's a it's a very real thing that you need to be concerned about on a track like this. 3 minutes and 30 seconds until we have qualifying. Drivers will have a 15-minute qualifying session to set the best lap that they can, and then for the race it'll be 45 minutes with a mandatory pit stop for fuel. As we wind down here for free practice, I want to just thank you all for joining. Really appreciate the support. Zealous couldn't really be here without the support from our fans and from all the sharing that you guys do to your communities. So really appreciate all the support and all the love that you give us. And if you're new to Zealous Racing and want to stay in touch with all the newest information, be sure to like and subscribe the channel. Be sure to watch these streams every week when we have races, but also join the Discord. There should be a link on the homepage of our YouTube channel. That's where you're going to get the most up-to-date information on all of our leagues and special events. Speaking of information for all of our drivers and for all of our community members, something we might need help with in the near future is somebody to help me out in the broadcasting booth. We've been looking to have a co-broadcaster for the last season or so, not only to heighten the production that we already have going on here, but also because I will have to be taking a hiatus, a little bit of a sabbatical here in the later half of the year, and I'd also like maybe one season to race. I know, maybe a little selfish of me, but I'm a part of Zealous too. I watch these guys race every week, and I want to be out there in the cockpit and racing with everyone else. But if there is anyone out there watching right now, or maybe a friend of someone out there right now, it would be a great help if you know someone who might be interested in assisting in the broadcasting talent in the broadcasting booth. That'd be excellent, so much fun, and it would help out greatly. Like I said, I do need to take a sabbatical in the later half of the year, so really the timeline isn't until later in 2023 here, but we're hoping to get somebody into the box with me a little bit earlier than that, just to learn the ropes and everything that it takes to be a broadcaster. So we watch Landry here, last car on track with 30 seconds left to go as he finishes up his lap. And now Landry opts to just head to the pits himself. As we watch all of our drivers here, session has ended. Let's drive here and watch the drivers all jockey for that position to get out there. I think Nunez might have gotten out first. We'll have to watch. And indeed it is Nunez. So we'll watch Nunez on the first lap here of qualifying. They'll have 15 minutes to set their fastest laps. Now, I mentioned earlier again that we have multi-class driver class rating or racing this season. So while we have 21 cars on track, all that matters to those drivers is the class that they are in. So a driver like Henry Harvey racing against a driver like Miles Harvey, even though they're both named Harvey, they are in two separate classes, and their points will not matter against each other. So their on-track battles won't matter for their placement. As we watch Nunez come down the back straight here, taking the nice little looping up and down the hill. Let's get into the cockpit cam of Nunez's car here and follow him on the first lap of qualifying. Down the start finish straight. Want to hug the right as much as you can. You can carry a lot of speed and go wide here. A lot of that runoff is still part of track limits, braking just at that little white strip on the right side of the car there, trying to rotate it the best you can, using all of the track that you can, braking and trying to just coast your way through this little right-hand section here. Don't need to add much brake there, just trying to carry the speed. Braking again at just after that little white line there. Making sure your car doesn't understeer too much there. Want to maintain as much speed though as possible down this first little kink here. Braking just after that little white line again on the right side. Not a lot of indicators at this track. Using all the track limits in this little stadium section here. Braking just after the little kink. No real marker there. Hugging close to the inside. Using all the track on the exit. Holding to that left side very aggressively. Coasting into the kink. Using the runoff and a little bit of a bump there. Making sure not to unsettle the car. Tricky braking zone here. Kind of braking from the middle. Going to the outside of the track. Nice and smooth there from our friend Jose Nunez. Good little lap from him. Coming down the finish, he's got a 1:31. That's a great start. Portis is going to be a few seconds back from that. Larson does better. Moving back, Belanger, a couple other drivers coming across the line now. Burr, Belanger, Harvey. Belanger must have invalidated his first lap there. Got Reed now setting a lap. Kapelke goes P2. Only 4 tenths behind Larson. That's a really good sign from our drivers there. Let's go to Harvey. Goes a little bit wide there. I think that invalidates his lap. Watch Rodman go across the start finish here. That's Adam Henry in front of him. Sets a lap. Rodman goes right ahead of him in class. Rise sandwiches them both. Looking at some of our other drivers, Sean Collis here. Must have invalidated his first lap too. Looks like Carlos Flores didn't have the best lap. Maybe was held up a little bit, but he does set a time. He does have a time there on the screen. Lenny Dijkstra coming out now. Nunez is not able to improve his time. Just barely too, by less than 1,000th of a second. Henry Harvey improves. Reed improves his time. Only a 10th back from Larson on pole position. This could be a really good race for Reed, as Larson does have that 15-second pit stop ballast added to his time. So he really could be in contention for winning this race. Nunez and Henry Harvey are the other two in the Legionnaires, or in the Centurion class, pardon, that will be having that ballast. Watching Lenny cross, isn't able to set a time. Flores now P2 in class. Behind him, Landry. In front of him, Rodman. I gotta say, Rodman's been putting in some work. The improvement that I've seen over the last few seasons from Rodman has been incredibly impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not trying to stroke his ego or anything. It's actually been impressive. And that's right. I've been watching you. I've been watching you, Rodman. I've been seeing you grinding. I think the proximity of him to the rest of the class there really is evidence of the work that he's putting in. Looking at the times, Larson goes under 31, is able to set a 30.9. Watching some other drivers here. Belanger. Got some great camera angles at this track, I'm not going to lie. Looking mighty fine. Ooh, Belanger gets a lot of that inside curb. Hopefully that lap is still valid for him. Looks like it is not. Christopher Larson here, driving the new MSL livery on that Mercedes. Looks really good in my opinion. Nice, nice orange and black paint scheme. Kapelke is able to improve his time, now goes P2 in class. Reed's going to have to watch out for him. Flores is able to improve ahead of Rodman. Reed offers to go into the ditch there. Looking at Flores now. Now leading the class, but Flores will have a 5-second penalty. Rodman's going to have a 10-second penalty. Could bode well for Sean Collis today. Currently running in P3 in class. Another driver who's had a really good season so far is Jose Nunez here. He's going to have a 10-second ballast. But putting in some really great laps. See Larson there on the runoff. Chris Rise rocking the Porsche. Porsche is one of the cars that I've been racing at this track. Definitely tough to get the most out of it. Looking at the timing tables, looks like not much has changed so far. Rise is able to improve P4 in class, just a little under a 10th behind Collis here. Only car not to set a time yet is Yao. Currently out on track. Capelki is now coming out of the pits. Looks like he has put a fresh set of boots on, ready to set his last few hot laps here. Maybe got 1 or 2 in him. Ooh, looks like we have, I don't know if that's contact or what, but Adam Henry sideways. Ooh, Dijkstra using a lot of the runoff there. Let's watch Capelki as he finishes up his lap here. Hopping over to JJ Burr, watching the timing tables. That was Capelki's out lap, sorry. JJ Burr looking to improve here. And good evening to you as well, Dimac. Matt Fender, another one of our Porsche drivers with a Ferrari right behind him. Pinio now slowing down, currently sitting P16 overall. Larson looking to improve his time, taking Yao as a little bit of a tow there. Isn't able to improve his time, but just barely isn't able to improve his time. Yao is now set a lap. One minute and 13 seconds left in the session. Currently Larson, Capelki, Reed in Centurions. Legionnaires is Flores, Harvey, and Rodman. It's Miles, Harvey. Those top 3 in that Pro-Am class, the Legionnaire class, awfully close. Within less than a thousandth, within about 1,000th to 2,000ths of a second between each other. And it looks like none of them are on track right now, so they're all opting to stick with that time. Flores, though, is out there trying to set a better lap, but he might not need to. Larson taking all the curb he can, powering through. Portis! Kenneth Portis, kind of out of nowhere there now, sets a 131.225. That puts him into P3, but look at right behind him is Matthew Reed, who does one better. And he must be so excited. Just biffs it. Reed will go into P2 to start the race. Excellent job from him. Portis keeps going. Capelki's still going as well. Oh, and Capelki has to invalidate his lap there. Ends it. Portis continues on. Does he have the extra thousand or extra tenth of a second, I should say, to improve his lap time? Belanger and Burr still out. Alberts and Yao. Actually, Yao has actually finished his lap. Portis as he races to the finish here. Belanger is not able to improve. Burr improves, but not enough to make up the time. Portis goes into the pits, and that will be the end of qualifying. Wow, this I think is going to be a very exciting race for our drivers. Absolutely incredibly close for everyone. And our drivers here, they're going to be, and as you can see there, you can see the pit stop ballast being applied to drivers here. And as you can see there, in our top 5, 3 of the drivers in the top 5 of the Legionnaires class, or of the Centurions class, didn't finish in the podium last week. So, could be a very interesting race tonight, and I definitely think we're going to have some battles for the lead. This is going to be a very interesting race. I'm excited to see how this turns out. But I shouldn't be talking about that. I only have 3 more minutes left to tell you our starting order. We have Larson with a 15-second pit stop ballast for his success last week. Reed, Portis, Kapelke, Nunez with the 10-second, Henry Harvey with the 5 seconds, Belanger and Burr. That rounds out the Centurion class tonight. For our Legionnaires class, we have Carlos Flores with 5 seconds, Miles Harvey, Rodman with 10 seconds, Collis, Rise, Landry, Fender, Alberts, Pinio, Henry, Dijkstra, Yao, and Jay Friesen. That's your starting order for tonight's race, and just want to thank you all for joining us tonight as our drivers get the last-minute setup changes to their car done right now. Want to thank you all for joining. I can't thank you enough for the support that you give our community. We really couldn't be here without you. If you're new to Zealous Racing League and want to stay up to date with the latest information on upcoming leagues and or special events, be sure to like and subscribe to the to the YouTube channel first, but also join our Discord. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a stroke here. Join our Discord server. The link for our Discord is on the homepage of our YouTube channel. There is where you're actually going to be finding truly the most up-to-date information on all of our leagues and races and everything like that. We usually try to have a few weeks break in between our leagues, but that is where all of the communication between our whole community really happens. And plus, if you're new to sim racing and looking to just get involved and learn the ropes, we have a whole community of drivers that are more than willing to help out. Drivers like Larson is super happy to just get into a voice call with you and try and teach. So even though he is probably one of our most successful drivers in the league, he's probably one of the most generous with his time. So that's the kind of drivers we like to attract, and we like to help out as many people as we can. So yeah, be sure to join in. And as our drivers got now 40 seconds left to get their cars set up, I do have one more thing I want to mention. I mentioned it in free practice here, but we are looking for someone to assist me in the duties of broadcaster. So if that's something that you might be interested in, or you know someone who might be interested in assisting for broadcasting here at ZRL, I will need to take a sabbatical later in the year. And like I mentioned in free practice, I'm a member of this community too, and I haven't raced in like 3 or 4 seasons now. So I'm really looking to maybe get back into the cockpit, into that driver's seat, and maybe race one of these seasons coming up in the near future. Um, I also do have a really real sabbatical that I'll need to take where I won't be able to race or anything. But yeah, be sure to join the Discord server for that and message Cobra or myself. Just get in contact with one of us on the Discord server if you are interested. Welcome, Nacho. Welcome to all of our viewers tonight, as our drivers now have a full lap to warm up their tires. Apologies there. Need to switch over to my broadcasting tool. But due to the new tire model and suspension model introduced in the last major update of the game, we have gone back to having a full warm-up lap just because the warming up of the tires is such a crucial part of the process. Talking with Larson before the season began, with the new tire physics, you really have to be careful with your tires in the first 4 or 5 laps of your race, of your stint, because if you're not able to take care of them and you burn out your tires too fast, it's really going to impact your pace throughout the whole stint. Our drivers will need to be taking a pit stop for today's race. It's going to be a 25-second minimum pit stop for fuel, and they can choose to add tires, and then some of our drivers will have their success ballast as well. So they'll need to take care of their tires, but they'll also need to manage their strategy the best that they can. A lot of our drivers might want to think about whether they should stay on their used set of tires and save the extra 5 seconds in the pits that the tires would take. But that all remains to be seen as our drivers line up 2 by 2 here. Starting order here, Larson and Reed lining up on the front row. Let's go to them now as our drivers have now all rounded that first corner, or that last corner I should say, and as they come down the start finish straight here, we are green for 45 minutes of racing here at Valencia. First time we see this track here at ZRL. Larson goes outside, Reed looking on the inside. Not going to have it work though. Portis has to tuck in behind Reed there. We've got Nunez going wide, and that looks like it's Kapelke going wide as well. Nunez goes ahead. Looks like some clipping for some cars behind. It looks like the 66 of Henry and a few cars behind are having a few issues as well. Slow cars. And now we have Larson pulling away now with Reed behind. Portis and Kapelke battling it out. Nunez. Train is forming behind, got some of the timing sheets coming through now. Portis and Nunez and Kapelke all awfully close to each other. Miles Harvey has been able to move ahead. Chris Rise as well of Flores and Rodman down in that Pro-Am class. Flores now with Rodman right on his tail. Rise and Harvey pulling away just slightly, getting held up by the pack here in this close little knit hairpin. Larson trying to pull the biggest gap that he can. Larson has the penalty and Reed does not. Nunez has made it ahead of Kapelke. As they come down the start-finish straight again here on the first lap. Orders changed slightly. Going back to the back of our pack here, Jay Friesen's been able to make a few moves from other drivers there. Martin Albert's right behind him. And Henry right in front of him. A little bit of a battle here going into T1. Albert's looking on the inside. Friesen's got to concede it. Goes a little bit wide. Moving up into our leader in the Pro-Am class, our Legionnaire class, we have Miles Harvey with Chris Rise right on his tail. Chris Rise making a lot of time up in that braking zone. Can he stay close in the acceleration? And he can. Not a lot of opportunities to make a move, but Harvey does go wide. Looks like Rise is going to try and take the opportunity here. 2 by 2 they go into the hairpin here. Miles Harvey just able to squeak out ahead. Rodman and Flores are able to catch up a little bit more in that battle. Reed now half a second behind Larson, and Portis a half a second behind them. Gaps are starting to form. Larson with the fastest lap of the race now. It's a 31.3. Rise looking on the inside there, isn't able to make it. Not a lot of great overtaking opportunities, I'm not going to lie, here at this track. You really have to stay on the line. Oh, we have contact behind. It looks like that's Flores and Rodman. Indeed, it is Flores and Rodman. Make contact into the left-handed turn there. Let's actually take a moment and go back to that. Going back to Flores. Let's go back 30 seconds here. As they come around the first hairpin there. Oh, looks like Rodman just overcooks it a little bit going into the turn. And it looks like that is what caused the little issue there. That is the two Legionnaire class drivers that had pit stop ballast penalties going into this week's race. Now punished even more for the battling on track. Reed now 2.5 seconds behind Larson. Pinio gets cut off a little bit by Dijkstra there as they battle. Yao close behind as well. Yao looking on the inside. Side by side goes Pinio and Yao. Looks like Pinio's able to hold it. Right behind them is Flores, trying to work his way back up the pack. Dijkstra able to hold off Pinio and Yao for the time being. Dijkstra, our sole Audi driver tonight. 5 minutes already gone by during this race. Up to our Centurion class here, we have Portis, Nunez, and Kapelki all battling for P3. Going to Nunez here. Driver behind, driver in front. Nunez does have the penalty, though. Kapelki getting awfully close to the rear end of Nunez there. Trying to stick close to Portis ahead. I wonder how the tires of all these drivers are doing now. Flores and Rodman are sure going to be hurting for pace later on in the race. Oh, we got some contact back here. Yao going slow. Flores almost runs into him there. Manages to avoid a major incident there and is able to pass Yao. Now Rodman looking on the inside. Pit window is open. Drivers will have to make that mandatory pit stop. Rodman goes wide. Yao is able to pass. Dijkstra gets overtaken by a few drivers there. Looks like Pinho's overtaken him. And we have two drivers going into the pit. That's Rodman and Rise going into the pits, serving their pit stop early. That could be dangerous. They might want to, they maybe wanted to squeak out a little bit more time on these tires. Now they're going to have to race, well, 36 minutes, either on the existing tires or on new tires, which with this new physics is a little bit more to manage than it was in the past. But it could give them the time they need, the open air that they need to make the gap worth it. I don't know what it is about when I usually race. I think my strategies, I like to tend to go as long as I possibly can on the first set of tires and really then try to hot lap it as later into the race. Which doesn't always work, but I don't know, something about that seems like I'm being a little tricky. Reed now 5 seconds behind Larson. Henry Harvey with Belanger behind. Behind them is JJ Burr. Rodman and Rise now out of the pits. Nunez is in the pits. Now to a battle with Dijkstra and Pinho. '74 car Friesen spun out of the hairpin. The first hairpin, sorry. Flores moving his way back up the field. Nunez had that 10-second penalty and has now cleared that from the board. Same with Rodman. Now they have some open track to make things happen. Reed really needs to pick up the pace if he wants to stick with Larson during the pit window time. Kapelke awfully close to Portis now. Let's go to the battle on track. Kapelke definitely got the best out of that one. Dijkstra goes wide at turn 2. Back on track. Oh, and Henry Harvey there. Just saw him have a bit of an incident. In front of that BMW, awfully banged up now. Oh, and it looks like he just unsettled the car a little bit. Good on the brakes from Belanger there. Really unfortunate. Definitely all too easy to do. Harvey now goes to the pits. Probably a good idea to fix that BMW's front end. Burr was actually able to pass Belanger there. Managing a bit of oversteer. Portis managing a battle with Kapelke. Looking at the timing. Right now, Reed and Larson are lapping fairly similarly. Reed's last lap was about a second slower, though. No, that is the tough thing about keeping up with Larson. He's just so consistent with his laps. Makes it very difficult to hang with him. Looking up into our Legionnaire class lead, Miles Harvey currently leading the class, with Landry and Collis behind. Collis maybe has an opportunity to make a move on Landry if he can get close enough to make it happen. Back to JJ Burr and Belanger here. Four drivers have made their pit stops. We have 30 minutes left in this race. Down the start-finish straight they go. Kapelke doing well to stick with Portis here. Pokes his nose on the inside a little bit there. Man, I'm not going to lie, that is an excellent little angle there to view. Ooh, JJ Burr and Belanger with Rodman right behind. Yao getting close to Pinio. Alberts is in the pits. Now we have Landry with, looks like Collis has actually already passed him. And indeed, that is the case. Collis has passed Landry there. So we have a change for the podium there between Landry and Collis. Collis being promoted into P2 of the class. Now it looks like Landry's just losing time. Larson now has Rise in front of him, a lapped car. Rise blocking the pit lane, but it looks like Larson didn't really matter. Rise, having taken his pit stop much earlier, could be good to follow a driver like Larson now. Maybe see if he can up his pace a little bit. Looking at Rise's previous laps, have been matching some of the peers in his class. Let's go to Glenn Pinio here, having just been passed by Yao. Henry, or actually that's Martin Albert's behind. Jason Friesen letting Nunez go through there. Nunez has been running in the 33s. Looking at some other drivers here, Adam Henry. Kind of in a little bit of a lull here, Dijkstra in the pits. Henry Harvey's back out on track, having repaired the damage on his car. And he no longer has the pit stop ballast to take care of. Henry Harvey does set his best lap, a 32.5. Reed is now almost 10 seconds back from Larson. A little bit of a glitch there. Kapelke, Flores, Miles Harvey into the pits. Larson continuing onwards. Getting close to about the halfway point of this race. What I'm going to guess is Larson is waiting for an opportunity. Ooh, Albert's almost sending it wide there. My guess is that Larson is waiting for the moment that he's over 15 seconds from Reed. Because I think what Larson's thinking right now, he's thinking that he's going to... I think Larson won't pit for tires. I think Larson will keep the tires that he's got. I think Reed will try and pit for tires. So maybe he's trying to get into that 10-second range. Not really sure, I guess. But if I had to guess, that's kind of what he's going for. Or he might bait Reed into thinking that he's going to take a pit stop when he's 15 seconds ahead and not get tires. Then maybe Reed will get tires. And, oh, Pinio spins around. Doesn't look like anyone's involved. Luckily, Adam Henry passes without an issue. Chris Rise pitted early in this race, was running near the front. Reed and Burr now into the pits. Reed opting to undercut here. Shows Portis is 20 seconds behind Larson. Portis's laps have been looking pretty good though. Reed has been lapping just slightly faster. Sean Collis is in the pits. Pineo's in the pits. Just waiting on Henry, Fender, Landry, Portis, and Larson to make their pit stops as we go 20 minutes, 30 seconds left in the race. Larson now going into the pits. Driver to watch now is going to be Reed as he comes out on his fresh set of tires, or maybe fresh set of tires. We'll have to see. Fender into the pits. Larson now in the pits. Portis in the pits. Fender's in the pits. And as he rounds, Larson, number 2 car, still is in the pits. And there he comes out. Larson's out of the pits now, having served his pit stop. I don't think he took tires, but look at how close they are now. Larson bobbing and weaving there. Landry, Reed's had an extra lap to get the tires back up to temperatures and pressures. Oh my goodness, couldn't have timed it any more perfectly. Definitely did not take tires. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Maybe it is a case where Reed did take tires here. Well, it's going to be close. Because if Reed took tires there, I guess it would have been a 10-second difference. That's the only way there would have been a 10-second difference. And going into the pits, I think Larson had 11 seconds on Reed. Maybe Reed's outlap was just a little bit slower than he was expecting. Looking at that timings. Landry and Henry have yet to make their pit stops. Larson goes really wide there on turn 1. Trying to stick with. Staying within a second of Larson here. Kapelke has gotten ahead of Portis. That's something we've missed. Nunez lost a lot of time with his 10-second penalty. Now back in P10. Or sorry, P8. Landry into the pits. Flores has worked his way back up into P4 within his class. Although Landry has to make his pit stop here still. Ooh, looks like Reed is sticking very close here. Yes, it has even gained a little bit of time on Larson in that last lap. I wonder, did Reed get tires? I wonder. He's got 16 minutes to make anything stick, and he's got to do it on track now. He's not able to do it with a pit stop. Henry, last driver to make his pit stop. Number 9 car of Yao, showing slow. Reed really doing a good job of sticking with Larson now. We'll have to come back to that and continue watching. A little bit further down, Flores and Yao. Flores did not fix any of the damage on the bumper of that car. Back to the leaders we go. Looks like Reed is getting a good bit of time in that second sector. Or that third sector, sorry. Larson's slightly faster on the last lap. Or slightly slower, sorry, on the last lap. You know, if Reed can continue doing what he's doing right now, that could be a win for him. He's just got to pass arguably the best driver in our series. And battling him is going to be a challenge because he is going to be fighting and defending as much as he can. Collis and Fender are getting close. Centurion's class has evened out a little bit here. Larson still just slightly slower overall on the lap, goes wide. Back to Fender and Collis here, battle for a podium position. Rise now leading the class. He's got 4 seconds on Landry behind. Battle of Porsche. Back to the battle for the lead here. Wow, you can see there Larson prioritizing corner exit with his speed. Man, look at how much more grip it looks like Reed has in that last little sector there. Reed slightly slower, but sticking with well. All drivers have made their pit stops now. We have 11 minutes and 15 seconds or so left in the race. Lapped car coming up behind. We're coming up ahead, I'm sorry. As they move through sectors 1. Looks like Reed is able to make up some time. Sector 2 is where Larson really has the speed, though. Ooh, and Reed does go wide a bit there. That's going to lose him some time. Let's take this brief moment, pause in the race to take a look at some of our other drivers. Kapelke, having made it ahead of Portis now, has pulled away 2 seconds. Still quite a ways behind Reed, though. Portis running a respectable P4. Belanger and Nunez battling it out here. Another good battle on track for our Centurion class. Ooh, and Belanger goes wide. Side by side goes Nunez and Belanger. Ooh, they almost collide, but they don't. Nunez has to tuck in. Right behind is JJ Burr. Three-way battle there for 5th place. Chris Rise currently leading our Pro-Am category. 4.5 seconds ahead of Christian Landry. Reed sticking with the best he can. It looks like Fender not too far behind Landry. Not too far behind Fender is Sean Collis. And we have Henry Harvey currently sitting last place. Did have a bit of an unlucky last place in the Centurion class. Did have a little bit of an unlucky bump out of the kink. Rise is back in the pits. What for? I do not know. Interesting. I'm not sure what happened there with Rise. Martin Alberts with the drive-through. Flores. Toby Yao. Reed sticking with. We've got Belanger, Nunez, and Burr still battling it out. Let me get back to that soon. Alberts is in the pits for his drive-through. Miles Harvey. Adam Henry. Our good friend Glenn Pinio. Martin Alberts now coming out of the pits from his drive-through penalty. Jay Friesen. Last but not least, we got Lenny Dijkstra. Back up to the battles. The battle for the lead of the race. Reed gained 0.2 last lap. This is where Reed's car definitely is shining. That Lamborghini getting a lot of grip in this last and first sector. Our Mercedes battle here between Nunez and Belanger still raging. Burr closing the gap. Just trying to stick with the best he can. Braking just as the curbing begins there. Looking really good. Belanger may have gone a little bit wide there. We'll have to see. Coming down the straight. In the slipstream goes Nunez. I don't think he's got the space to... I don't think he's got the space to pass. But it was looking awfully close. Oh, has to break a little bit more than he wanted to maybe there. Held up by Belanger. Back to Reed and Larson here. Oh, Reed is as close as he's ever been. Maybe that strategy to get new tires has paid off for him. Battle for the lead of our Centurion class here. Coming down to the last 5.5 minutes in this race. As Larson tries to break the toe. Reed follows. 3.5 tenths behind. Looks like Nunez has dropped back just slightly from Belanger, now Burr threatening. Reed loses time in the first sector of this last lap. Larson building a small gap now. Losing it in the braking zone. Looking at the splits, Reed makes up back some of that time. Back to Reed and Larson here. Reed looking for a good jump. Is definitely not close enough to make a move and did lose a little bit of time in that last sector. Just needs one good lap, I think. And a good opportunity to make that move work. Ooh, and there goes Nunez and Burr battling it out here on the last corner. Belanger liking this battle behind him. Means he doesn't have to worry too much about Nunez right now. He's got to worry about whether their battle is going to bleed a little bit further forward than where it is right now. Nunez more preoccupied with Burr behind than he is going to be with Belanger ahead right now. Larson with Reed right behind. Reed looks like he lost some time that last sector, that last little kink there. Can Belanger get it back? Or sorry, Reed get some time back. Ooh, yes, lost 4 tenths in that last lap. Nunez has been able to hold his position from Burr behind. Two minutes left in the race, and we have the battle for the lead of this race still going on. Reed been able to build some of that time back. So it looks like he's got the pace. He's just getting held up. A lot of grip on that Lamborghini. Looks like Larson went a bit wide there. Gave Reed the opportunity to gain a little bit of time back there. Does go faster than Larson on that last lap. I definitely think if the positions were reversed right now, Reed would be pulling away, but just can't get by Larson, and this is going to be his last chance. For Larson and Reed, this is the last lap. It looks like Reed is definitely closing there. He's only got a few more turns left to make a move. Down the back straight they go, through the kink. Trying to close that gap a little bit. Using all that he's got. Reed right on the tail of Larson as we go into the final few turns here. Through the kink. And Reed is close. Is he going to dive it up the middle? He is. He's going inside. But he doesn't have the space to do it. No. What a battle there. Down to the last lap. Reed and Larson will cross the finish line, and that will be the end of the race. What a battle. Nunez does lose the position to Burr, but couldn't really watch due to that epic battle up there. And Burr now looking to maybe see if he can pass Belanger ahead. Nunez losing a little bit of grip on those tires. Burr almost runs into the back of Belanger there. Belanger's probably wondering of where his grip has gone. And as they cross the line now, 3 drivers will finish there. Pinio and Dijkstra have crossed the line for our Pro-Am class. In our Legionnaire class, Landry, after some mix-ups and everything with our pit stops, he will come away as the winner for the Legionnaires. Behind him, Matt Fender. And even close behind him, we have Sean Collis. That is your podium for the Legionnaire class. Wow, what an incredible race. What an incredible battle there at the end. For a second, I really was thinking that Reed's strategy would pay off with a new set of tires. And I really do think it almost did. Maybe if he hadn't made the mistake only a few laps prior, he would have had it. But as it stands, Reed will get P2 for that race. Larson will come away with another win after a 15-second pit stop ballast penalty. But incredible, incredible driving from our drivers. Definitely think that this Valencia track does bode well, especially for a race that has pit stop ballast and pit stop strategies. You know, the tire degradation, as you could see, was so large between a used set of tires and a worn or a new set of tires. You could see Reed just had so much more grip after switching tires there at his pit stop. But Your race winner tonight in the Centurion class is Christopher Larson. He also gets the fastest lap. Reed, only 0.4 of a second behind him, comes away with P2. Behind them, Kapelke will get his first podium here with Zealous Racing League. He'll get P3, Portis P4, Belanger P5, Burr, Nunez, and Henry Harvey. That'll be your Centurion class. For the Legionnaire class, we have Christian Landry with our win, Fender, Collis with P2 and P3 respectively. Rodman and Flores with good recovery drives. Rodman will come away in P4, Flores in P5. Yao, Miles Harvey, Glenn Pinio, Adam Henry, Alberts, Jay Friesen, Dijkstra, and last but not least, we have Rise coming in P21. Folks, what an excellent, excellent race we just witnessed today. Probably one of the closest races we've ever had for our Centurion, for our lead classes, our lead cars there. Really think this pit stop ballast, success ballast is going to be a great addition. Provide some excellent battles like we just saw there. And with these new tire physics, like I said, you know, that gamble of whether you take that extra 5 seconds to get the tires is going to be more and more as we go on. And I think racing here at Valencia was just an excellent way to highlight that. So really, really have been enjoying this racing, and I hope you guys have been too. But anyway, folks, that's all I've got for you this week. If I go to my personal information, we'll be back next time. Round 3 will be at Watkins Glen. So a 45-minute race with no pit stops at Watkins Glen will be coming next week for our drivers. And as always, I've been Shim. I've been your host tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Couldn't do this without your support. We love you. We appreciate you. And we hope you have a wonderful week. Stay safe out there and see you next time.